this is not a good relationship for you, and it's likely that this person is not the one to help you right now. They are focused elsewhere, and that's why that conversation is just not moving how you might want it to. You've already met the person who will change your career. If you take a look back over the last 5, 10, 15, or maybe even 20 years, there was somebody on that pathway who is the person now to reconnect with to take your career to the next level. You see, it's very easy for us to avoid the thing that we know we need to be doing next and stay comfortable in what it is that we're doing now. In fact, those people around us and the environment around us has actually set you up for the success that you've got to date. But if you're looking for the next level of success inside of the industry or the company or the employer that you currently work for, you're going to need to reconnect with this specific person. There's a big difference between avoiding taking the necessary action and pushing ahead with the things that you know are going to make you successful in that same environment. When I was 27 years old, I was kind of the day or the year, if you like, where I finally grew up. I wasn't sure up until that point what I should be doing with my career, where I should be working. And it was only through the events that had happened between kind of 1999 and 2000 that I started to realize, hey, I'm in the wrong lane. It's time to change lane. And that is where I met the first person who would change my career. The name of the person I met back then, and I was a 27, 28-year-old person, was Gail. And Gail was able to draw for me pictorially a diagram and a representation of visually where my career was at right then and where it would go next. So she clearly laid out for me phases of my career. So I was able to have a meaningful conversation about what was next for me. And at that time, all I knew was I needed to know the next place. Now, there were lots of changes that happened over the years between age 27 and through my 30s. Lots of things happened in my career, which I call the experience phase. And in that time, I met tons of people who were able to give me solid advice, good information about what to do with my career and how to take it to the next level. But it really wasn't until I was just about 40, 41 that, again, there was a magic moment, having a conversation with somebody, this time Adam, who was able to lay out for me pictorially a graphical representation of where the career goes next. Over the 5 years that followed those conversations with Adam, I was able to identify precisely what it is that I wanted to do inside of my corporate career. So I took on new industries, I worked for new companies, and I took a look around at how could I actually maximize my own career growth, my own personal development, and my own personal trajectory. And what happened was on that path, I get to meet two other individuals that made things very, very clear for me. One was Nancy. I sat down with Nancy and she was able to kind of take a look back at my career and identify who were those key individuals that made the biggest difference and why did they make the biggest difference, and then identify who might we need to be talking to next that would get me into the next location. And it wasn't long. In fact, after that conversation, maybe a couple of months later, the opportunities and possibilities started to emerge for me. And the same can be true for you. What did all of this mean? Well, today I'm able to do exactly what I love to do. I can take all of those skills and experiences and that knowledge and now help people pay it forward by maximizing the results in their career. So that means we can take a look at this information, but the people you know are the ones that you need to get back in contact with who are going to make the biggest difference. I'm willing to argue that you actually know already what it is that you want. You know specifically what you would like to do in your career, but there are many reasons why you avoid doing them. And you've even convinced yourself that it's actually not worth taking on the challenge of doing what you want by telling yourself what you need. And what we frequently need keeps us in a small circumference. It keeps us in a small location where we're unable to maximize the best of ourselves because we're focused on things like money and time, and we pay attention to those things instead of focusing on the things that we really want inside of us, which are more like freedom and abundance and wealth creation. So I have a task for you right now. What I'd like for you to do is to pause the video and just write out on a piece of paper or type out if you've got a phone with you or you've got a PC or you're watching this on a Mac. You can take a look and just actually type down, what is it that I want professionally? Write down from your career what you're looking for, what kind of teams you want to work in, what kind of people you want to hang around with, what kind of industries and companies that would be ideal for you. But I want you to answer these three key questions. What can you see? And do this from the perspective of, imagine you're looking through a video camera just like this one, and you cannot hear the sound. What can you see when you're in the place that you want to be? Describe that, provide some definition to that. The second thing you can do is turn off the camera lens. Now, what is it that you hear? So imagine you can just only hear the audio of the career that you want the most. What kind of things are going on? Are you speaking? Are you talking to audiences? Are you doing public speaking? Are you doing more speaking engagements? Is there a team around you? Can you hear the chatter of that team? Write down specifically, what do you hear in your perfect career? And then the last thing I would like you to do is to write down, how are you feeling? You're now doing what you want to do. And that generates inside of us a feeling. And sometimes that could be described as hope. Sometimes that could be vibrancy, energetic, enthusiastic, these things that kind of come to mind when I talk to people in my community, members in my community. This is what they talk about. This is how they feel when they're doing the work that they want to do. Now, this transformation, I want to make clear with you, is not about leaving your current company. This transformation that you're about to go on to identify the person that you know who can already take your career forward is about deliberate practice. It's about taking a look at who in my network have I spent time with over the last 5, 10, 15 years, who I consider to be somebody who consciously, I understand they've already made a big difference and they're very likely to have some of the answers I need for what it is that I've just written down in that what I want section. Consider this, consider it is, who do you know? Now, most have got a big network. You've got hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of people in your network. And there's a really good chance you've forgotten about some of those key individuals. So you're not going to be immediately identifying who they are. So this does involve a little bit of research. So the first obvious question is, who are the people who made the biggest difference up until now? Make a list of those individuals. That's going to be 5, 10, maybe 15 people that you could clearly identify really quickly made a big difference. They could be former managers, teammates, they could be executives who gave you advice, they could be career coaches, executive coaches, they could be people from other industries, maybe some clients, people you served on your path. Write the list of those people out. Then the research task is to go into your network and start to remember how you met some of these key people and what are they doing now. There's a really good chance that they've already met the person who changed their career forever. And that's why we need to connect with those people once more. There's one thing that's going to hold you back from this, and that's a belief that your career can actually go any further than you already are. Most of the people in my community, members I talk to, are vice presidents, senior vice presidents. They're executive vice presidents. They run groups. They are general managers, managing directors. They are C-suite executives. And here's what they tell me. I feel like I've topped out. I feel like I've reached the top. I don't know where to go to next. It's not obvious to me where my next step is. James, I need your help to give me clarity around that. So we go through clarity exercises, but if there's one thing I could share with you in this video is you have to change your belief about what's possible for you, because I can tell you it's infinitely greater than where you are right now. When you have that belief, one of the things that it takes you to is what we call commitment. You're going to be able to commit with courage and confidence to take the actions necessary to get yourself moving and get yourself some momentum. Now, if you haven't seen my video on momentum, you can check that out in my channel. And I take you through 8 steps that are going to get you into momentum fast. And maybe I'll even put a link up for that at the end of this video. But what I want you to know is it's that courage, the ability and the willingness to take the action, to write down those names, to do the research, and then to actually reach out to them. And this is a place where people get stuck because they say, why would that person want to hear from me anymore? Or what do I say to them? Well, I'm going to give you a little model about what you can say to them when you've identified who these people are. The first thing is you're just going to treat them as if you just bumped into them in a coffee shop. And if you're in a coffee shop, how would you typically speak to anybody else? I imagine the first thing you're going to say is, hello, it's good to see you. Now, you won't be seeing these people, but you can say, hello, it's good to see your name. It's good to see your face on your profile. It's good to hear that you've come into my consciousness recently, and I just want to say hello. Hello, how are you? How are you doing? You can put that into your reach out. Now, you're always going to be waiting for responses. Now, some people aren't on the LinkedIn network all the time. Some people aren't even in their email all the time. So be prepared that you're not going to hear anything. And that's why you need to have a good list of people that you can reach out to. That's 5, 10, 15. I recommend that you're thinking about 2 or 3 people per day that you could be sending messages to connect with, because the likelihood is that that one person is in that group, but you do need to keep the consistency of reaching out to those people to find who it is and to start these conversations. Yeah, lots of people will be in and out of their social networks and their email all the time, and they are already busy. So you are just adding more tasks to their plate. If you send them a message, they have to think about it. Yeah, think about this. How many times have you sent a message to somebody who you love and care about, and it took them 2 or 3 days to respond to you? How does that make you feel? And it's not because they don't love you anymore. It's just because they are busy and you are not in their consciousness. Actually, most of the time, they're walking around unconscious and they are not conscious about their career development. And so they're just focused on their job. They've got a whole list of things to do, and that's what they're focused on. What do you do next? When you've said the hello and you get a message back from them saying, hello, good to hear from you, you're going to wonder, how do I open this conversation and build this relationship again? Well, typically there's a commonality or a common denominator, something you know about each other, that if you were just to bring up that topic again, that will start the connection and you can have a conversation about that. This happened recently with executives that I know where we talked about an event that happened 7 years ago. And while that doesn't have any familiarity in today, it does allow us to have a connection about other things. And so where that led to was sharing of photography, where we are in our lives now, what kind of opportunities we're working on now. And so we're working on the relationship there. This is phase 2. Talk about each other, help each other out, get to know each other again. Once you get to the point where you're in flow and the conversation is easy, now look out for this. If the conversation is hard, frustrating, it's stalling, it's not moving freely, this is not a good relationship for you. And it's likely that this person is not the one to help you right now. They are focused elsewhere. And that's why that conversation is just not moving how you might want it to. So you're looking for conversation that is easy. It's fun. There's some fun in this conversation. And it's also advantageous, that there's some benefit already in making that connection. You can actually feel this person actually cares about me and I actually care about them too. When there's advantageous conversation going on, that's how you can get to the next thing, which is to identify problems. Now, you're not going to go there to share problems with them, but you are looking to seek, what are their problems? What are they challenged with right now? What are they going through right now? And most of the time, because people's number one topic is themselves, they will already offer up that they are busy. Well, that's a problem. We shouldn't all be busy all the time. There should be some break time. There should be some freedom. If you're living your life, you shouldn't be busy all the time. But a lot of people are. They just put so much on their plate at the buffet and the food is falling all over the floor. You're trying to find out, why are they so busy? What is it? And then ask them, is this what you want? Do you want to be this busy? And a lot of people actually don't. They can kid themselves too, because it's that old model of, you're going to get rewarded if you work more hours and you hang around the office or you do more work. And it's all about prestige and salary. And people do that, and that's okay. It's about chasing money. And I'll tell you, I've done that. And it's a big mistake, because there's a massive difference between making money and wealth creation. Making money is about need, and it's about scarcity thinking and finite gain, that there's winners and losers. And I was guilty of being the competitive one, elbowing people out the way. That's not what we want. We're looking for people who are willing to build wealth with you, create with you, freedom, abundance. These are the things: creation of assets, additional values and skill in your life. This is the kind of relationship we want. So you want that to be flowing backwards and forwards. And if it's not, be willing to walk away. You don't have to keep going on a conversation if it's not easy, it's not fun, it's not advantageous. If it's not those things, I recommend you do walk away. Even messages I sent out today, people haven't replied yet. They've read the messages, but they still haven't replied. So I keep my expectation low that they're not going to, because I'm just another one on their agenda, and you should too. Now, I already mentioned back there why you may not be taking action to take your career to the next level. And that is because of the work culture that you are embroiled in, that the work culture has trained you to do more of the same. Because if you do more of the same, you'll get a linear progression. You'll get to the point where you'll be able to make more money. You might get a promotion. You may get a raise. You may be offered a tap on the shoulder to go and work in a different department. You may move sideways in the organization. You may be given more responsibility. That linear thinking is also based in finite games. It's based in limitations. It's based on just a little bit more paycheck. And we get addicted to that paycheck. And then we start thinking about what we need. And then we wake up one day and suddenly realize, this is not what I want. This is not the career that I want. And if that's like you that I'm talking to right now, it's exactly how I felt. It's exactly why I transitioned into what I do now, to help people overcome this issue. 90% of the clients I work with stay in the company that they're working with. They don't leave the company. I get this misnomer that maybe I'm coaching employees to leave their job. That's not what I do. I actually help people get clarity to maximize their career results. So if that's what you're looking for, Be wary of that work culture because you're ignoring other things that are actually of high value to you. If you take a look at your core values are likely to be around family, your kids, making sure that they have a good education, that they have safety, that they're protected and they're provided for. Your core values are very different. They're not actually about hanging around as many hours as you can. And here's what I'm going to tell you. As I tell all my clients and all the people in my community, your kids will never say to you as you're leaving us from this planet, we wish you worked harder. They're never going to say that. They're going to say, we wish you'd been more present. And so that's what we're looking for. As you think about this person who's going to get you the career you want, you are going to be able to spend more time with your family. So it's critical that you know that. I hope you've enjoyed the messages I've shared with you today. And I want to just remind you that when you don't have the belief that your career can go to another place, that you can actually get greater results for you. I'm not talking about 2x linear progression. I'm talking about maybe 3 times, 5 times more success than you're currently experiencing. And these are people who, you're already up the highway, right? You're highway up the ladder. You've done the 20 years of experience, 25 years of experience, and you get to wonder when it gets lonely, where do I go next? You have to get this belief that there is somebody else, somewhere else for you. And I want you to look out for that. But you have to do this with a commitment to be courageous, to have different conversations and change what you're doing. You may also hear this referred to by me as do something different. But I'm going to leave you with one 3-word phrase, which I'm talking to everybody about right now, is stop playing small. Okay, I promised you another video. And if you just jump in here, watch this next video, take a look inside. I think it's exactly what you want. And I'll see you inside.